My name is Vaughan and I'm the County Librarian for Mayo.
Who came up with the idea of archiving it or museuming it?
Well, the most important thing was to get it. Archiving it and technology that came later. Jackie came to me first and he talked about it. I never were going to have a building like this because I didn't know the scale of it, because he was a very modest man. And once we had it, I suppose it was easy to decide. We'd archive the maps, we'd put the books on the siding, whatever, that's the easy part. I think it would have been nothing, it would have been thrown around the place, even more than the 1916 proclamation, which is playing in the background. When that was produced, there was a few hundred and they were probably lying on the streets. And now you could sell them for 250,000, so I suppose today's ephemera is tomorrow's treasure. But this is the oldest example.
That's the oldest thing on the building, is it?
No, it's the oldest piece of ephemera. Well, there are some books and newspapers from the 1600s. And I suppose it usually depends on how you define ephemera, but I'm thinking of things like proclamations and posters and handbills, of which was quite a lot, relating to the land war and relating to 1798, a good collection of 1798, the kind of thing. Irishmen had only go to sleep, and of course the ones for the First World War, we all know, Kitchener saying sign up now. So, as I say, it's mainly posters and pamphlets. And today's posters and pamphlets are tomorrow's history.
And tell me this, Jackie Clarke himself, what can you tell us about the man of his story?
Well, he was a businessman in the town. He was born, I think, 1927, 28, and behind me here on the shelf, there's his first scrapbook, which he made when he was 13, and he used to do that for the next 60 years. Collectors of my generation like cutting bits out of papers and pasting them into school books or whatever. That's totally dead now, of course, because you can go on the internet and you can find what's not. But obviously he had that collecting bug in him and his whole life, and the fact that he collected up to 100,000 items is amazing.
And it was all salted away in an attic, was it? The family didn't intrude, or nobody fully grasped the extent of his collection.
No, they don't seem to have. It wasn't just an attic, it was about 3 rooms in the house. I was in it the first time and all I could think it was fire hazard. It was under the beds, it was everywhere in the house. They were finding boxes for weeks. Even when we had taken it out, they'd come back and say, oh, we found 2 more boxes here, we found 2 more boxes there. Like the 1916 proclamation was folded in a brown envelope, but it was in some ways that made it safer because nobody was going to know what it was.
And had he catalogued it in any way?
I don't think so. I think Jackie's catalogue was in his own head, that if you asked him where something was, he could reach out. No, I don't think cataloguing in the sense that we as librarians would think of wouldn't have entered his head. And I don't blame him, since it's taken us about 4 years to catalogue this collection.
And I suppose as you rooted in that childhood passion just to collect scraps, and I had a scrapbook as a boy as well, you buy these sort of brightly coloured scrapbooks and you could cut things out. My children probably would never occur to them to do that.
That's right, and my generation people collected stamps, and sometimes in the library we put out ads saying, have you a collection? Then we could display, people collect those old dinky cars, they collect records, but young people nowadays seem to spend their time with their thumbs on a screen, but maybe they're doing other types of collection that I don't understand.
Well, the funny thing is, Ollie here now, he's collecting moments and experiences and memories around Westport and South West Mayo, and he's built up 2,000 videos and counting of what's happening.
Right.
I suppose that's one way to respond to the digital world we live in.
I would imagine that's a very important way, and as we all know now, a lot of early films were destroyed, and in Washington, the Smithsonian Institute and the National Library are trying to collect film from 1910s, 1915s. The problem with film, especially early film, was it was very brittle, whereas it's amazing we're just looking at paper here from 300 years. And I suppose the other thing with film is the equipment that it plays on can become obsolete all the time. My own wedding video, I think, is probably on some kind of format that would be very difficult now to play on, so it changes all the time. But
I know I've heard this happen. They've had time capsules that they've dug up from the past, from even the 80s, or the 70s, where they might have a Super 8 cartridge or something, and nobody can play it.
That's right, and a question that's often asked in the world of librarians is who's collecting the data of today. I read somewhere lately that the Chinese now produce more data in one day in the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th century together. So that is amazing.
The Jackie Clarke Collection, when you first opened, it was featured in the New York Times. It had a major story there.
It actually got 2 pages in the New York Times, which I'm told if you had to pay for that kind of advertising, it would be a lot of money. So that was, it has been featured all over the world. It has won numerous awards. But you can see why. You can see the quality of the collection. So that is the bottom line.
And what's very striking is that it was not. He was a merchant here in Ballina. Was he a fishmonger? Was he?
He was a fishmonger, and he had a shop. And having a shop selling newspapers and posters, and he had brilliant access. People would be coming and saying, "Can I put up this poster? We distribute this." He had access to magazines. He had access to journals. So he was the right man in the right place at the centre of the town.
But he wasn't in an official capacity in any way. This was purely that boyhood passion extended out through a lifetime and building into, hundreds of thousands of pieces of document.
Yeah, it was purely the passion of the collector. Later on in life, he was elected as a councillor here in Ballina, but this was completely separate. This was the hobby of the man, and this was his passion. And we're all grateful for that.
We are. And where did he pass on, Austin?
I think it was 2000.
Yeah. And only then did the work begin of excavating this treasure.
Oh, it took a few years, yes. 2005 we received the collection, and it took another 5 years before it was opened.
Right.
I can show you the posters upstairs if you have time.
Where did he get some of his stuff? He didn't get all his stuff through the shop, did he?
Oh, no, he would have bought it from...
He bought stuff. He would have gone to auctions and...
Yeah, auctions, and all the collectors would have known him, all the suppliers, and they would have sent him catalogues. Apparently he was well known in that business.
But there's some very old documents there, isn't there?
Oh, very much so, yeah.
And how did he get his hands on those?
Well, I presume a lot of it would be that the people, the antiquarian booksellers and the likes would have known there's a guy in Ballina who collects this stuff.
Oh, okay.